Hello and welcome, Katy here. Thanks so much for stopping by and Happy New Year. I'm excited to share my first design team project for Missing Stamps. And for my first project, I thought I would share my two first loves in card making. One is mini cards, small cards, A1 size, also known as RSVP, and ink blending. It's one of my favorite techniques to do in card making. And so I thought for my first project with you guys, I would share that. So we're going to use the hand-drawn heart stencil. I've got some hot press watercolor paper. I prefer that when ink blending. And I'm going to use some Lavinia Inks stamps. Or they're ink pads, the Element ink pads. And I'm going to start with confetti. Now, some people struggle with ink blending. I 100% recommend hot press watercolor paper if you're one of those people. If you don't struggle with it, it's still a fantastic paper to ink blend on because it's very forgiving. Another thing is that if you struggle with ink blending, maybe you have problems with your hands and your wrists and things, the technique I'm doing here, which is basically just stripes down the paper, is a really good way to ink blend, and it doesn't put a lot of stress on the hand and the wrist. So this is a great technique. Also, as you can see, it's a cool way to get different variations, as you can see with the striping that I'm getting. Now, I'm actually going to be die cutting this, so once we die cut it, you won't even see the top part where we're starting our striping. This one I didn't speed up too much because I wanted you to see in real time, how I was going. I'm not going really super fast. And you can see my goal was the striping. I'm not going to lie. But as you get down to the bottom of the paper, the midsection of the paper, you can see here I've sped this up a little bit more. And on a smaller piece of paper, the thing is that you want to make sure you go all the way to the end. That way you're going to have less of the lines the more times you do it, because it's naturally going to blend. That's one of the reasons I really like hot press watercolor paper for this. And cold press will work too. The only difference between those two papers is the texture. Hot press is super smooth. Cold press is going to have some bumps, some texture, some grooves in it, if you will. So if you struggle with ink blending, or you want to just try a different way to ink blend, not doing circular motions and things like that, this is a great way to do it with just going down, straight down the paper. You could even do a scrubbing motion back and forth without having to do a circular motion. I do that a couple times as I get towards the bottom of the panel, just to make sure I don't have those stop marks. As you can see kind of there about 3/4 of the way down, you have that kind of stop mark. So if you do a scrubbing motion, you will fill that in and not have that problem. So now I'm going to use the hand-drawn hearts. I just wanted subtle hearts for the background. So I'm taking some Merlot that was remaining on my brush. I didn't talk about the ink colors. I've got confetti, mulberry, and Merlot. And in that order is how they were applied. So the confetti is your light pink, the mulberry is your darker pink, and then Merlot is more of your purple. Now, when I die cut this particular one with some arch dies that I have in my stash, I wanted to deepen that up a little bit. You can see there's a little bit more depth on the other three panels. So I just went back in with my inks in the same order and applied a little bit more ink. Same technique. I didn't change anything, just doing the straight up and down brush strokes. You can use foam tools also. Now I'm going to use the Have Heart stamp, and I want to talk about this Stays On pigment ink. I'm stamping on 48-pound vellum, and this Stays On pigment ink. It's different than the regular, I think it's Cottontail or something, Stays On ink. I love it. It's fantastic for stamping on vellum, but I have a problem. It's got a flaw. The ink pad dries out really easily. There's no cover on it like the normal Stays On ink pads. So I thought I had to get another ink pad. I just opened this, so I'm going to try with the press and seal. If you have what is it, cellophane, you know, the shrink wrap stuff. You could try that too. We'll see how that goes, and as I use it, I'll give you an update and see. Definitely want to re-anchor for that ink pad as well. Here I'm showing you the size of the card. It measures 4 7/8 inches wide by 7 inches long, and it's scored at 3.5 inches. I did fussy cut out the heart. Really forgiving. It's a great stamp for fussy cutting, especially if you're not very good at it like me. And then I use the everyday sentiments to stamp out a few sentiments. We got love you, thinking of you, you're in my heart, and just saying hi. Great little note cards to send as a set, or just to have on hand to be able to send a quick note out to let someone know you're thinking of them, especially at Valentine's Day. So here I'm showing you that vellum doesn't matter how much liquid you put on it, it's always going to curl up. So to be able to secure it down, I just use some gems and baubles and things to hold them down. And here is some up close of those. And I love the softness of the hearts in the background. It just gives a little bit. And of course you could go darker if you wanted to, but I just wanted a nice soft background to overlay our vellum on. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Be sure and check the description box below for the products used, and head on over to Miss Ink Stamps Facebook group. We'd love to see what you guys are making. Hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you in the next video.